Hey there, restaurant pros. Are you looking for effective restaurant solutions to lower your restaurant's prime cost? I bet you are. With COVID-19, we're seeing our sales drop, our food costs go through the roof, our labor costs go through the roof, and you're searching for how you can take control. Even when times are good, these are our biggest expenses to control. That's why they're called controllable expenses. And I'm going to tell you, on this video, I'm going to focus on labor and tell you without a budget, your restaurant is running off the wrong labor cost percentages. With the right target, you're going to be able to proactively schedule and hit your profitability goals. Now, if this topic really excites you, make sure you like this video. And oh, by the way, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell so you're notified when the next video comes up. I'm David Scott Peters, creator of the Restaurant Prosperity Formula, and I understand prime cost better than anyone out there. That is, I'm the prime cost guy. And I'm gonna tell you right now, to truly understand it, I want you to watch this video, okay? I'm gonna go in depth what prime cost is. You understand the ins and outs of it. But for this video, we're just focusing on labor cost. And there are three things I want you to put in place. First is a budget. The next is something called the Restaurant Payroll Guardian, followed by the Restaurant Labor Discrepancy Finder. These three restaurant solutions are going to help you lower, control your prime cost, and truly take your profitability back. As a restaurant coach, I talk to independent restaurant owners on a daily basis. Chefs, managers, owners, doesn't matter to me, general managers. I talk to you. And I can tell you, when I was running a business as a restaurant manager, as a chief operating officer of a 30-unit restaurant sports bar chain, never really changed. Meaning labor cost is one of the top things we need to control. But today it's gotten worse. Minimum wage is creeping up to $15 an hour across the country. And now with COVID-19 and lower sales, we're looking at new ways to run our business. We're finding our labor creep up because many of us are in something called minimum staffing levels. And I'm going to talk about that in great detail. And this is why we're seeing our prime costs go through the roof. So what are the three things I want you to have? Number one is a budget. If you've seen me speak any point in time, or you've been searching my YouTube channel, you know that I say the two most important systems any restaurant should have any chance to make money, are budgets and recipe costing cards. Oh, by the way, what are the two they almost never have? Why? Because they're so hard. Boo frickin' who. You have an opportunity to make money, you gotta have a budget. You've gotta set your proactive plan for success. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when it comes to prime costs, but especially labor costs, a budget is critical. Because how do you run your business? Do you run it off a national average? Oh, I read an article from the National Restaurant Association says the average food cost for a full service restaurant is 34%. And you grab that number and stick it into your budget, even if you have one. Otherwise, you're really running your restaurant to 34%. Who the hell said your restaurant was average? Are you on the same street corner, same price point, same style of service, same quality product, right? Same? No. So what is an average good for? Nothing. That's why you've got to understand prime cost. But once you set your prime cost budget target, the truth is, with a budget, that target is different every single month. See, when I'm in my off season, my managers are chewing up all my money, but I still need to cover my business. I still need a server. I still need a cook. And so I have what I call minimum staffing levels, which means I need more money. I'm going to have a higher labor target in my off season. When I'm in season, I have so much money, I can't even add another cook to the line. There's no place for them to stand. I can't add another server, can't add another cashier. It's not possible. I've got the money, which means my managers take up salary, right? Take up a smaller percentage, and I can't spend all that money. So I have a lower labor cost percentage when my sales are really, really high because my customers manage my efficiency. So if I've got in my off-season a higher labor cost, in-season a lower labor cost, but I'm trying to hit a certain number by the end of the year to be on budget, to hit my prime cost target goals, you may have a budget number, call it 30%, but you might run 38% in the off-season and 24% in-season. But in a year, you hit your target. By the way, you cannot do that properly if you don't have a budget. Now, the next piece is when I have a budget, the right labor targets based on that month, I teach a system to my members called the Restaurant Payroll Guardian, which is like magic. By taking my POS report from last week, my sales forecast for next week, and my budget target for my budget, I can tell each one of my managers how many hours and dollars they have to spend next week to be on budget, to proactively manage. See, instead of doing what we do in the restaurant business is bring people in and pray we're busy, send them home when we're slow, right? That doesn't work. Think about it. When you bring 4 cooks on the line at 4 o'clock and you're slow, you don't get busy till 8 o'clock. Well, they may have done side work, may have done some prep, but your clock is bleeding you. Well, all of a sudden you get to 8 o'clock, there's no customers. All right, go home. It's too freaking late. At $15, $16, $18, $20 an hour, you are getting bled dry with no productivity for it. So the truth of the matter is, maybe I learned to bring in 2 cooks to set up the line at 4 o'clock, one at 5 o'clock, the other one at 7, and then at 8 o'clock. I didn't bleed all those labor hours. I still have the 4 cooks that if I'm busy in my restaurant at that time, it's still there. It's no different for my servers. So the Restaurant Payroll Guardian allows you to proactively manage, to make changes. But to know where those changes are is the third restaurant solution, and that's the Restaurant Labor Discrepancy Finder, otherwise known as a schedule variance report. See, there's a pro and con, and that's this. I teach you all day long that you need restaurant scheduling software. It's going to change your world because you're going to have all these things that make it easier to work with your employees, no schedules. But one of the really things that's a positive and negative is it allows managers to literally copy and paste the schedule from week to week. But nobody pays attention to that the state fair's in town and your sales are lower this week. They're coming up, right? So all of a sudden you go into your week over budget. You're wasting money, people standing around. It's too late. To cut them, it's too late. So here's the deal. When I see that, the Restaurant Payroll Guardian tells you where your number should be. Because I copied the schedule and it's here. Let's say, for instance, hey chef, you have 300 hours of schedule in the back of house. You actually scheduled based on last week, copy and pasting it forward, 314 hours. You need to cut 14 hours. That's all the labor discrepancy finder does. It tells you where your variance is. Now, as a manager, my job is to get that variance to 0. So what do? Well, if I told chef you got to cut 14 hours, first thing he or she's going to do is go, you got to be kidding me. I can't cut 14 hours. I'm going to lose people. And in today's day and age, I don't even have people wanting to come back to work because we're in the middle of COVID. I can't lose these people. I'm not telling you to rip the Band-Aid off, take 14 hours away from one person, one shift from 2 cooks, and they can't pay their bills. No. What if we start thinking small? What if I brought in 4 cooks 15 minutes later in the morning because the nighttime crew set up the line, ready to go? Well, that's 15 minutes, 4 people is 1 hour. What if the daytime crew sets up the line, make sure all prep is done, and the PM shift is ready to go, and I brought in 4 cooks 15 minutes later? That's 15 minutes, 4 people, that's an hour. That's a 2-hour savings a day. There's 7 days a week, that's 14 hours. When we start to look at our numbers, start with a budget, use the Restaurant Payroll Guardian, and then look for the discrepancy with the Restaurant Labor Discrepancy Finder and make those small changes to get our variance to 0. You're taking control of your labor cost and your prime cost, putting your restaurant on a path to make money. None of this is possible without a budget. Look, if you want to learn more restaurant solutions like these and how to get your managers to actually do the work, sign up for my 4-part video learning series where I go into this in more depth. The link is in the description below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my weekly tips and watch these 2 videos to learn more restaurant solutions to take control of your business.